9-hour broadcast day yesterday, so.
Did you?
Yep.
That's about what mine's going to be tomorrow. Got 4 races tomorrow.
Yeah.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the playoffs in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship here this season. Welcome to Vegas. The final 3 rounds of the season are upon us. We know it's going to be one of 10 drivers, but who will it be? Who will our champion be this season? Myself, Ian O'Leary, Hamish Monroe in commentary today to find out, or at least part of the way find out. Jim Cunningham behind the cameras. As always, good to be back alongside you, Hamish. Sorry for missing last week. It was a very exciting race, though, to decide the top 10 and decide who is going to be there in the playoffs. Now we know the 10 names, but we don't know who the champion is going to be. It's a fascinating playoffs structure, if you like, and very much looking forward to finding out who it's going to be this season.
Yeah, I mean, this playoff structure, of course, is it's not the regular playoff structure of you don't perform, you're out. It's not an elimination style. All 10 are going to be in it for the next 3 rounds. That kind of allows some leeway for people who may miss one of the rounds, but it will be a lot harder for them to do it, obviously, if they do miss a round, like the likes of Zach Smathers, who's not here this week, at a friend's wedding. But what it does do is I don't know, it feels like less pressure, Ewan, on some of those drivers, because it means that a mistake from a driver, or if they get caught up in somebody else's mistake, it doesn't necessarily ruin their championship. It doesn't ruin their chance of winning the title. But what it does do is it means that they still have to be on their game for the next 3 weeks. And Vegas tonight, well, are they going to come up, trumps, or are the chips going to fall their way? That's, we're going to find out over the next sort of hour and a half to 2 hours here. The 2 drivers, though, for my money, that are very likely the 2 favourites is Cody Pruitt and Bailey Brannon. Outside of that, we got to look at Mike Rinker and Charles Rinker and even Trey Jones, who's shown some really, really good pace over the last few weeks.
Let's go ahead and bring the points up.
Absolutely, but everybody within 20 points, which is a good indication, really, that it's very, very close in the points, to be honest. And actually, 20 points will cover the whole of the field effectively from top to bottom. Here they are. As you can see, they've all been boosted to 2,000 points, those in the top 10. So Bailey Brannon leads by 4 points now only, ahead of Cody Pruitt. Mike Rinker ahead of Charles Rinker next, only 1 point. Paul Harris, 1 point separating those 3 intermittently. Trey Jones, Zach Smathers was tied on points. Nicholas Meadows, Robert Stevens Jr. there as well. They're all there. I don't see John Roberts on that list.
Oh, I missed one. Yeah, my
he's
bad.
there in there anyway, in the top 10. Chris Hone is the best placed of those who missed out. Jack Anderson just missed out as well, as did... Oh, there's John Roberts. He just hasn't been boosted in terms of his
I'll get it right
points total. He's on 2007, by the way, so he moves up to 6th place there in that list. A little bit further down, William Hawker, Daniel Wing also have just missed out, but it was very, very close, Hamish. We always knew it was going to be, and some were going to have to miss out in terms of that top 10, and it's Chris Hone who's best placed. I mean, it does very much take the pressure definitely off of them. With the first round of a new playoffs, you can discuss whether the playoff drivers have any pressure upon them, but those guys certainly don't. And I wouldn't be totally surprised that at least one of the races out the final 3, that actually one of the non-playoff drivers wins it.
Yeah, because I think more or less the focus doesn't necessarily need to be on winning a race. It just needs to be on beating your competitors. Obviously, stage points, they can help you as well across these playoffs too. So that may be part of the strategy as well, where drivers will now favour the stage points and then try and get positive points at the end of the race as well. So that will be one of the tests for them too. Tonight Vegas is qualifying going to be so important tonight, Ewan. I don't know if it will. I think strategy is going to be more important than necessarily having to qualify well. I think keeping it clean is going to be important as well. Out of those names, I think you look at below pretty much the top 4 or 5, and you get to those drivers who may not have actually taken a win this season, or even a podium in the case of Paul Harris, and they've now got to try and step up their game and really put the focus into doing something they didn't even manage to do in the regular season. In Paul's case, he's got to try and get his first podium in these playoffs for my money, if you can't get podiums, you're not going to win the championship, because it's highly unlikely that we're going to get non-playoff drivers all 3 podium positions all 3 weeks. That the stats do not say that that's going to happen, but it is stock car racing. Anything can happen and anyone can end up in the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll obviously monitor it closely, and we'll get on with qualifying. Cody Pruitt is the first driver to set a lap time there. Mike Rinker immediately overtakes him. Paul Harris there as well. All playoff drivers there up towards the front, as you'd expect to see. Only 6 times so far. There goes Trey Jones over the line and goes to the top. You saw his time popping through on the bottom of your screen there, and he moves forward. Some outlaps starting to be completed here, by the way, for some of these guys. That's the 7 of Charles Rinker, who goes over the line up to 3rd place for Rinker. He's actually 4th place behind Mike Rinker and Cody Pruitt, who's in 2nd. And they've all completed their 2nd lap, actually. Pruitt, Rinker, and Harris. So they've all done their 2 laps of this session here
Sounds
at Vegas.
like a law firm.
There
Rinker,
is
Rinker, and
number
Harris.
6 of Bailey Brannan, who has the points lead at the moment after those opening weeks, taking the points lead away from Mike Rinker. Actually ended it with the most total points, but not the most playoff points. So moves on up, does Brannan. And in this qualifying session, only 6th place. Maybe you'd expect a little bit better, actually, from the 3-time race winner so far this season.
Well, you know, Bailey's been racing elsewhere the last few weeks as well on Friday nights, and well, at least Friday nights my time. Friday early mornings for the US. Now, I don't know if it's maybe that Vegas doesn't really suit his race style, or if there is some effect from the fact that he raced at Echo Park in a 12 caution 80 lap race there, where half the laps were under caution. Whether that took an effect or not, I don't know. I think we can still have faith, though, in Bailey, that he will be consistent across these next 3 weeks. The important thing is that he needs to just keep it clean. You know, you got to be in it to win it, and you've got to keep yourself in it to win it as well. It'll change some sort of strategies, but with only 4 points between him and P2 in the championship, well, again, I think he's very likely going to favour playoff points, and he'll favour trying to get to the end of this race with as little amount of pit stops as possible, because he'll want to try and extend that gap. The most important thing for Bailey to do in these playoffs, Ewan, is just do what he's been doing all season. He can't try and change the mold too much. He needs to try and you know, take that next step, go to the next level, and do what he's done all season. But sometimes that's one of the hardest things to do in the playoffs or in a championship deciding section of a season, because you feel that pressure, and pressure can sometimes just make you leak out of the mold a little bit. But containing those leaks, that's the important part. So I'll be interested to see what Bailey can do, and I'll be interested to see how his season can end up. It's anyone's game, relatively speaking, in that top 10. As I said, for my money, Cody Pruitt and Bailey are they're the 2 front runners for me. They're the 2 that I think are more than likely going to take this out. Time will tell, and the next 3 weeks are going to be exciting for us.
Yeah, they excuse me, they certainly will be. We're just moving into warm-up at the moment, so we'll continue chatting while we wait for the race session to begin. 100 laps tonight, by the way, in the Black Jackson Burnouts 150. Stage on lap 35, just longer than an anticipated fuel window of 27 laps. 3 tyres in the pit lane, 3 sets of tyres down in the pit lane, as always. 2 playoff drivers not here tonight, unfortunately. John Roberts, who's in 6th place in the current standings, not here currently. Whether he's going to appear or not, I'm not sure, but it will be at the back of the field if he does at all. And Zach Smathers as well, who has already got some fans. Maybe it's even him himself telling us that he won't be here today. Instead, he's giving everybody a head start so he can beat them in the last 2 rounds. I know he's joking, but I'm not sure that's going to happen, unfortunately. It's just not long enough of a season, really. It's effectively a new season, isn't it, really? 3 races, and it's just not enough of a season, unfortunately, to make up the points. In terms of points, by the way, I want to emphasise the importance of a race win here. I've mentioned many times this season how I actually think this playoff system, although this is a very short season compared to the real-life NASCAR Xfinity or Cup Series seasons, it's 3 times shorter than both. But I think it's much better, actually, this playoff that's stunning, because you do want a championship finale. You do want to heighten the opportunity for a championship finale on the final day. But you don't want to make it, in my opinion, a complete gimmick with a final race meaning everything. So I think these final 3 races are a very good idea. But the importance of a win, Hamish, I think is something to emphasise. We don't have a win in your in system in this series. Not in the regular season, not at the end season either. And however, the gap between first and second is 5 points in terms of how many points you can gain. And that's, not a case between any other 2 positions. The gap between all the others is 1 point. So, it's not a win in your in situation, as I say, but winning races in these final 3 surely has got to be absolutely really critical to winning this championship in the end.
I think it will be, and I think the more critical thing for it will be is if you're behind Bailey, for example, you want to try and go for the win. But you've also got to try and then balance the stage points as well, Ewan, because bonus points are such a major factor, not just in this series, in other leagues as well out there that offer bonus points. Bonus points can be, and it's been proven time and time again in a whole heap of different racing categories, bonus points can be the make or break of your season. They can be what actually determines a championship and P2. So making sure that you're able to bank those bonus points, and then also on top of that bank as many race points as possible as well, those are the 2 factors you've now got to bring into this race. I mean, I spoke about it before, the sort of strategy the drivers may pull tonight. For me, if I was in the position, Ewan, I would be trying to bank on getting stage points, as many stage points as I can, and then focusing up and strategizing towards the end of this race as well. The way that you can strategize to get as many stage points as possible is you try and stay out as long as possible in the hopes that there's going to be cautions, because the longer you stay out and the more cautions there are, the more likely you can get to the stage end without needing a pit stop. Now, you said it was lap 27, the fuel window. Lap 35 is the stage end. That's a 8-lap swing. Under a caution, you can save between 2 and 3 laps of fuel, depending on how long the caution is, depending on how good your fuel saving is as well. So realistically, in the first 35 laps, or let's say the first 27 to get to the end of the fuel window, we need maybe 2 or 3 cautions to get to the stage end. It's not out of the realm of possibility for that to happen, especially here at Vegas. It can easily happen, Ewan. So if you're at the front and you're in the top 10, stay out as long as possible. There's no point rolling the dice trying to come in early to pit, undercut, and get to the next part of the stage. You have to try and hold track position in those first 35 laps. Otherwise, you could either get caught up further back in the field, you could have pit for no reason, or you could get caught up in somebody's incident in the mid-pack when there inevitably is a caution and everyone's come back together again.
Yeah, I think that is a good sort of way to think about these first, especially first third of the race. We've seen time and again when it gets heavy on the cautions as well, actually staying out does seem to prevail in terms of just getting the track position and just staying there. I do wonder whether this circuit's a little bit wider maybe than some of the others that we've seen in recent weeks. The likes of maybe less Auto Club, but certainly Darlington, Atlanta, Kansas, the last over races anyway. I know there was a break in there in the middle, but those were circuits where actually track position mattered very much. Maybe this would be a bit less than that. However, it's still going to be very interesting to see what they decide to do under those early cautions. Let's have a look though at the grid for the Blackjacks and Burnouts 150 here from Vegas. It's Trey Jones and Cody Pruitt on the front row, an all playoff first 3 rows actually. Mike Rinker and Charles Rinker share row 2. Paul Harris and Nicholas Meadows share row 3. Jesse James, the first non-playoff driver, starts in 7th place. Jesse James 23rd at the end of the regular season. We knew he wasn't going to make the playoffs even before the final round. Bailey Brannan alongside, he knew he was going to make the playoffs from a long way out because he's been very dominant throughout the regular season. Robert Stevens Jr. and Tyler Murgy round out the top 10, so just 2 of the top 10 not playoff drivers. And indeed, those 2 are not here. Those are the 2 playoff drivers. So it's Shane Johnson and William Hawker who share row 6 ahead of Caleb Ross and Daniel Wing. Devon Trusty and Taylor Strong are on row 8 ahead of Trey Grabber and B Strong. Sean Schultz's Chris Hone and Jamie Violet round out the field. 21 drivers in the field here today. They're all on the grid right now, or just about all of them, and somebody has gone down to the inside. Not entirely sure what's going on.
Going to the back of the line.
69
Penalty.
Of Robert Stevens Jr. went down the hill.
Penalty from last week.
To the back of the field after a penalty from last week. So that was unusual, but he's going to go to the back of the field. Daniel Wing is going to start from the pit lane by the looks of things. Not entirely sure why, but he is still in the server. He's just elected to start from pit lane. Slightly strange decision, but anyway. 8 of our top drivers, 8 of our playoff drivers, all of whom are here today, all in the top 10. So nobody's starting from the back of the field at least, which is a good start for the playoff drivers.
Yeah, well, we'll see how this race start goes. Interesting race start procedure actually to start on the banking for the rolling start. Normally we've been seeing them start from pit lane, so I don't think it's going to affect them too much. Ewan, I think it's still going to be normal game as ever. Most important thing now is survive the first 10 laps. If we can survive the first 10 laps under green, we're less likely going to get a caution in those first 27 laps we mentioned. Crucial number in those first 27 laps with the strategy of getting to the end of the caution or the end of the stage without a pit stop is 3. 3 cautions will guarantee you to get to the stage end. 2 means a little bit of fuel saving, but it can be done. Jones and Pruitt on the front row. We'll see who can make the best of it. The Rinkers on row 2. They may work together, they may not. Time will tell as they come up to the start zone.
It's the playoffs in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship here this season. Live from Vegas. Green flag in the Blackjacks and Burnouts 150. The playoffs are underway. For 4, and it's Trey Jones who leads the first laps of the playoffs this season in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship. The dream start for a pole sitter, really, and he's actually distancing slightly those behind who are fighting for second place as well, led by Mike Rinker, who's ahead of Cody Pruitt, the only change inside the top 4.
You know, many changes inside the 4. Pruitt has just gotten back past Rinker again into P2, but it's side by side up towards the start-finish line. Once again, little bit of a wall slide there for Mike Rinker. His brother Charles on that inside line. He'll be hoping just to stay out of any issues. Wouldn't it be ironic if they came together off this race start here, Ewan, as they battle away? They've got Meadows in behind them. Brandon and Paul battling as well. That'd be a bad Thanksgiving if they came together for Paul and Bailey and for the Rinker brothers as well. Oh, but it is high intensity here, Ewan, amongst the front pack.
Yeah, it certainly is, as they come off for 4 again, and over the start-finish line again at the end of 3, side by side for third place between the two. Brinkers nearly contact as well, nearly door to door, as Charles just comes up the racetrack a little bit. Mike coming alongside, and they're absolutely locked together. Look at this. Bailey Brandon looks underneath them. Is he going to try and take them both here on the back straight? Has he got the opportunity to make it 3 wide? No, he hasn't. The two of them just side by side and unable to defeat the other.
Yeah, they can't really become... Neither of them can unglue the other. As Brandon's trying to find a pathway through, but it almost seems he needs a GPS to find a lane here. But they are not giving this position up. What has this been now? A good 2 or 3 laps they've been side by side. Finally, it's Charles Rinker who gets by as we ride on board with Brandon. But that there was one of the best pieces of door-to-door action we've seen probably all season, Ewan. I mean, we've seen some great racing. But that was really, really good to see between the two of them. And I'm sure that they were communicating as well. I'm sure they were saying, hey, I'm still here, or I'm still here. Just give me a bit more room. And it all played out well for them.
Yeah, certainly on a 1.5 miles, that was fantastic. Haven't had too many of those in the recent past in terms of this style of racing. Obviously, Atlanta is, but it's not the same anymore. Off of the pit lane, by the way, comes Shane Johnson. He's just about to complete 2 laps, so he's about halfway around his second lap. So something clearly pretty wrong has gone for him. Daniel Wing did indeed start from the pit lane, so we have Scott 20. Oh, big bit of loose off of 4 there for Mike Rinker, who's going to go backwards. Paul Harris and Nicholas Meadows go past.
Yeah, they both sneak past through on Mike there. I've heard rumours as well. If producer Jim can look at it for us at some point, the back of Trey Graber's car apparently has something special for Paul on it. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I was just told by Trey that it is on the back of his car, but I'm sure we'll see that at some point in this race. Brandon up the inside, though, of Charles Rinker. Can he sneak on into the top three as they battle away? The front two have started to break away a little bit here. 1.5 seconds is now the gap up to Pruitt and Jones. Here's how we ride on board with Meadows in behind Harris as they run through 2 and 3. Oh, sorry, turn 1 and 2. But, I mean, it feels like we're on a different level tonight. It feels there's a different level of intensity. It feels like there is a different level of pressure. And maybe it's psychosomatic because it's just the playoffs. But there's almost an aura to it tonight that there's a bit more pressure on these drivers. And you can tell by the way that they're tackling this circuit.
Yeah, and that's always, on one hand, a downside of a regular season. It sort of downplays and makes the regular season not quite as important. But as you say, when you get to those playoffs, my goodness, does it ramp things up quickly and make things all very, very exciting indeed. Side by side, a bit further back as Jesse James continues to battle, oh my word, across the start-finish line. James and Murgy, Caleb Ross and Trey Grabber all involved in this, as well as Taylor Strong, who's in this group as well. Looking free wide again. Is there going to be a move through the middle here? It looks like there is from Caleb Ross. He's going to back out of it though, and probably sensible as well. We have to go a bit further back to find the racing here, but we're still finding it in the opening 10 laps at Vegas.
Here's Nick Meadows as he battles away with Paul Harris up towards the tri-oval as well. Paul claiming he's the best there is, plain and simple, yet he hasn't had a podium this season. I think he might be misclaiming that quite possibly.
If he doesn't watch this back.
Hopefully he does.
From my favourite statement in the league, which I cannot say on air, Paul will understand why I have said that. It's 3 words, one starts with F, one starts with Y, and the other starts with Paul. So you can figure it out for yourself.
I think I might just be able to work that one out. I'm not great at puzzles, but I could do that one. On board with Mike Rinker, meantime. He's just in behind Harriet and Meadows and Charles Rinker, all of whom are the closest to him. But out front, it's Trey Jones, who still leads here at Vegas. 0.4 of a second, his gap over Cody Pruitt. As further behind, the battling continues. This for 9th place as Jesse James and Trey Grabber. This time outside line for Grabber. Inside. And he's going to take that place away from James, who's down 5 places already, by the way, from the start. And we're only on to lap 13. Not a brilliant start for Jesse James, unfortunately.
No, the Road Dog's really struggling back there as he battles away. And this is all for P12 at the moment. We've done pretty well here, Ewan, to go green flag to lap 13. No, the reason I mention this is, realistically now, we've got 14 laps until the fuel window ends. I don't know if there's enough time for enough cautions, actually, to get them to the stage end. So I think if we go green for the next 6 laps, I'd be coming in. Go for a little undercut. You'd have to hope you have someone come in with you because you don't want to end up out of the tow, of course. I think if you're at the front of the field, you don't risk it. You just go as long as possible. But if you're maybe at the back of the field or in the mid-pack and you think it's getting a bit dicey, a bit hairy, there could be a caution thrown, you can maybe risk it. You got not much to lose if you're further back in the field.
Yeah, it's true. As here comes Brannan on Cody Pruitt to go straight through into second. Pruitt's lost a lot of time, actually, in just 2 laps since I mentioned him. And he's passed pretty quickly and easily there by Bailey Brannan, who moves up into second position. And a great start it's been for Brannan after a subpar qualifying by his standards. Just 8th place off of the beginning for the Floridian, but he is now into second position in front of Cody Pruitt. 1 second to chase down Trey Jones, who's led every lap of this race so far, and indeed every lap of the playoffs so far. 15 complete, almost 1/6 for the race complete already here, which is rattling away very quickly. As you say, we might struggle now to get the laps in or the cautions in before you need to stop, but when that first caution arrives, they'll be able to recalibrate themselves. I wonder whether if we do stay green the whole way, and these guys will start to plan for this already, of course, and will have done since the beginning, I wonder whether it might be a no tyre stop, just take on the fuel that you need to get to the end of that stage, and then everybody comes in for tyres under the caution, because yes, on the one hand, you'll be worn out with tyres nearly a third of the way through the race. However, it does feel a little bit too early for tyres, and you can actually shorten the pit stop quite a lot by just taking the fuel that you need and not worrying about tyres.
I think the main issue with that is if we get to the stage and we get that caution, we're all good, we're reset. You have taken your tyres, you haven't taken tyres on 35, but you've taken tyres on 27 instead, or vice versa. That's that we get into the issue then of if we go caution after caution, all of a sudden you're still buried in the middle of the field. If you've taken the tyres on the stage end. Realistically speaking, I think you can go either way. If it stays green, you're giving up as much time, relatively speaking, across both stops. One of them's under green, the other's under yellow. But there's always that issue of, well, if there is cautions after that stage end and you've taken tyres right before it and you've buried yourself in the field where others have taken it earlier, even if it's only 8 laps earlier. Oh, we've just had a big change.
No, they're pitting.
The Rinkers are in.
The Rinkers are coming together.
This is a big surprise. Charles and Mike Rinker, this is clearly coordinated between the two of them, and it is pretty much halfway in the stage.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it, Ewan, because these guys can now work together for the next part of this stint up towards the stage end. They've come in with a drafting partner. We've seen this work before for other drivers as well. The issue would have been if they'd come in on their own. If they'd come in on their own, I'd say they'd be dead in the water, and I'd say that there's no chance that they're going to be able to make up a position now because they're not going to be in the draft. Both of them are now going to be able to draft together. They're going to be in their own little draft bubble. This may actually play out quite well for them. Who it may hurt now is Trey Jones, who's getting chased down by Brannon. Those guys are now going to be able to work together. And then Pruitt, who's got Nick Meadows hot on his heels as well. But those guys have still got good little draft partners. This will be interesting how it plays out and how it all comes together. Strategizing in an oval race like this, Ewan, is brilliant because it's great to see how the different strategies come together. And it's good to see, to pardon the pun, how the dice rolls will work out tonight out here at Las Vegas.
Well, that's what it's all about here at this track, absolutely. As the sun comes down tonight, by the way, the floodlights are already on, and it's getting pretty dark already, actually, here at Las Vegas. We are getting towards the end of the year, I suppose. And so nights are drawing in a little bit. There goes Meadows through into third ahead of Cody Pruitt, who's certainly lost a bit of time in the last few laps, and Meadows has been making up time. This is side by side of the line between Murgy, Ross and Hawker, all of whom have moved up in this battle for 6th place. There are the track conditions, by the way, is into the wall. That was in the wall definitely for William Hawker in the background as he leaves Ross and Murgy to continue the fight.
So 22 now of 100. We've got roughly 6 laps until the fuel end. Do we think anyone's been able to save fuel to get maybe a lap more, Ewan, or do we think it's been balls to the wall?
Bailey's in.
To the floor and, yeah, all right. Brannon's in. So Brannon comes in. He's coming on his own. The hope now is he comes out right in front of or right behind the Rinkers. That'll be the hope now for Brannon. To give the confirmation as well, Ewan, the Rinkers took tyres on their stops. We'll see if Brannon takes this. Actually, he's got a black flag. Bailey Brannon has got a black flag as he's come in. So I think he's had an unsafe. He's either had an unsafe entry or it's been a speeding in pit lane.
Yeah, sounds like it. The first big moment of these playoffs this season in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship from Vegas. It is Bailey Brannon, arguably the favourite. Certainly the guy with the most race wins, 3 to his name this season. And he has gotten a speeding penalty off of the start of this playoff campaign, and even more so than normal. You cannot afford this under green flag conditions because he will now be at least a lap down and fighting his way back. The advantage, on the other hand, the fact that there aren't many others who are laps down, so that will help him. But my goodness, this is a big moment in the playoffs. He's still not, now he's only just making his way out. 35 seconds. I think he was going to do a fuel-only stop.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was going to be fuel only. He's going to come out amongst the front pack again. So yeah, you said the bonus is the fact that he's the front placed car that is a lap down. There's only 2 cars that are a lap down now. this is the risk you play coming in early, Ewan, is if you do get a penalty under green flag stops and you've come in early and you're the only one in pit lane, it's more drivers that can lap you. Where if he had come in with other people in the pit stop, whilst he's sitting there committing to his penalty, they're also committing to their penalty as well. So it's not as much of a loss. He probably wouldn't have actually gone a lap down if he went to the end of the fuel window. So he's going to get some time back on some drivers, but whether he's going to be a lap down on the leader or not, well, the leader's right in front of him. He may not be a lap down. He may just be 25 seconds off of the next car, but he's going to have a lot of work to do to get that car back up the front. There's a lot of laps left. You know, we've still got 70 odd laps to go. Plenty of time for him to get there as the majority of field comes into pit lane now for their stop. But this is going to be tight and tough for Bailey Brannon now across the next portion of this race. Realistically, he's going to need, I was going to say he probably needs a caution, but he's going to get one at the stage end, so that'll at least put him right at the back of the field. But I think he's going to have to come in under caution. You know, and I was about to say he might just need to stay out and take track position, but that might actually put him dead in the water because he may be forced then to take a green flag stop after the caution break. So I think he's just got to try and play it safe now and do his work and try and fight his way forward.
Well, it's a big moment, that's for sure. 27 laps have been completed, and Robert Stevens Jr. and Trey Grubber have been able to save a bit of fuel, as you speculated somebody might be able to, and they've gone on further. Mike Rinker, Charles Rinker, though, are the leaders of those who pitted early, and they did take tyres. In fact, that's been the general consensus, actually. People taking tyres as into the pit lane for car 69. Robert Stevens Jr. and Trey Grubber is going to follow through as well. So after 28 laps, everybody's been in, just 7 laps short of the stage here at Las Vegas. Mike Rinker, Charles Rinker leading the way, and they're going to work together just for the moment. I think in the final few laps they may well fight, but they've only got 2.5 seconds at the moment to play with over Trey Jones.
We will get the benefit of actually comparing this strategy now, because there were at least 3 cars that did not take tyres on the stop, or may have only taken right sides. Those being Jesse James, Devin Trusty, and I think it was Caleb Ross. Yeah, Caleb Ross. They were the 3 drivers who did a sub 10-second pit stop time as the caution is thrown. We've just had a yellow flag thrown, actually. So something's happened.
Wow.
Someone's had an incident somewhere. I think it might...
The stage. Is it stage?
No, it's not. The stage is lap 35. We just had a question
There's
from
no
the producer
indication
if it was the stage, but no, the stage is lap 35, so that doesn't say to me why the caution should have been
nothing.
thrown. And there's nothing for a yellow flag either. So something's happened to someone out there.
Oh, maybe,
This is probably saved
maybe this
Bailey
right
Brannon.
here.
Oh, here we go.
That'll be it. Yep, Jamie Violet. I did look at him going slow, and I thought maybe. So yeah, I'd say that is almost certainly the reason for the caution. Was it
He's
worth the
actually got
caution,
his lap back
Ewan?
because of that, by the way. It would be in real life, wouldn't it? But not really.
Brannon is into pit lane. I
Yep,
like this
that's
strategy
smart.
from Bailey. That's
Yeah.
very, very smart. Take the
I
fuel
mean,
on
the other
board.
hand- Sorry, on the other hand, there's no reason not to, really, is there?
No,
When
that's
when
right,
you're
it's
that far
free.
down, you might as well.
Yeah, might as well come in. That's a really good strategy there from Brannon. That might just save his race, Ewan, coming in at this point. Because now, A, he's going to get a bit of track position in the next caution when the stage ends. B, he's still going to be able to pit and fill the car up with fuel, but the stop's going to be a lot shorter than the other drivers. In fact, he's come in and taken tyres. This is brilliant from Bailey Brannon. This has worked out so well for him.
Yeah, it has really. We'll see him probably stay out under the stage break caution unless he has a crash or something.
I think he'll come in and he'll just top it up with fuel under this. I mean, you might as well. It's a free stop. It's not under green. You'll get a bit of track position.
But yeah, he
He
wouldn't.
might be in the top 10 by the end of the stage. So, you know, but maybe that doesn't change anything, and unless he's leading, then he probably will top it off, as you say. But the lights will probably go off at the end of this lap, by the way, and then we'll be shortly getting underway again. But But yeah, it's making the best of a bad situation. That's exactly what you got to do when you're a playoff driver and you are delayed or whatever has happened. And that's exactly what he's doing at the moment. In fact, he's making the best of this bad situation better than anybody at the moment. This is a really good sort of response, if you like, from Bailey Brannan. As the lights go off, we'll have just 4 to go until the stage when we go back green.
Yep, I would claim that has probably, percentage-wise, probably actually saved Bailey's race a little bit for that to come out at that point and give him the option to come into pit lane. I respect the choice from the other drivers to not come in, but I think that there has very likely saved his race. Very, very likely to have, because I think, you know, if he had stayed out, he could have possibly made up some positions, could have possibly, you know, been better off. But now he's been able to take tyres for free. He's also been able to top it up with fuel as well. So this has worked to the massive benefit here of Bailey Brannan. And it's, you know, it's going to be interesting. I think he's back in it, even though he's at the back of the field. I think he is back in it. I think he's got a shot here to get back up into a race winning position, quite possibly by the end.
Pace car pulls in, and the into the Hawkins Automotive restart zone we go, and it's Mike Rinker who brings them back to green. 4 to go until the end of the first stage of the playoffs. Mike Rinker leads Charles Rinker at the beginning. Have we gone to caution again? No, it's just going green for the first time. Here we go. Lap 32, 4 to go, and Mike and Charles Rinker have got a big job on their hands to hold on here.
I have got Bailey Brannan on my screen at the moment. I'm keeping an eye on him throughout this restart of the race, so we'll be able to track him at some point, and I'll be able to give you the info on where he's ending up and how he's moving along. But look at the pressure from Trey Jones on Charles Rinker as well in the battle for the top 3 positions as they run across the line. Lap 33 of 100 now, 2 to go before the stage end, and bonus points are going to be a benefactor. Brannan, well, he's out of options to get bonus points tonight for the stage. He's got to try and get as good a track position as he can before he comes into pit lane under the next caution for the stage enders. Jones up the inside of Mike Rinker. The fresher tyres on board that car paying big dividends for the Twisted T entry. And back into the race lead he goes with possible full bonus points on offer for the stage end, but he's got to try and survive in the P1 position.
Yeah, he's got more grip though, hasn't he? You can just see it through turn 1 and 2 there. Rinker without the grip that he really requires. Cody Pruitt's continuing to try and come back through as well. He's having a look down the inside in the background, and you can see there'll be 1 lap to go here of the stage. But Trey Jones has had a very, very strong first stage here tonight.
Oh, very, very strong first stage. He's been running with the momentum the last few weeks, and he's been looking incredibly strong. You know, I might have said that Brannan and Pruitt are the 2 favourites, but you look right below them, it's Trey Jones. He's probably, you know, on the momentum side of things, he's on the level with Brannan in terms of momentum, Ewan. And I think with Brannan's bad luck at the start of this race, it may just be starting to swing Trey Jones' way as Pruitt runs up the inside of Meadows through on towards the tri-oval. Gets the job done just about, and the next car on the road for him is the 69 entry of Robert Stevens Jr. Brannan's just set the fastest lap of the race, 30.64 here for Bailey Brannan. He has got some wicked pace on board that car as the caution is thrown.
Yeah, there we go. That's the first stage complete, and Trey Jones wins it by quite a distance in the end, actually, over Mike Rinker, with behind Pruitt getting that 1 position right at the end. The top 7 drivers, by the way, all playoff drivers at the end of that one. Bailey Brannan, the only playoff driver who's here tonight to miss out there, with Smathers and Roberts not here tonight. That means, obviously, they're not scoring any points at all. As the caution flies, Trey Jones will catch up to the pace car and will be under caution again. And I'd imagine we're going to see a lot of drivers in pit lane in this time round.
So the number to remember right now, Ewan, is 15. That's where Brannan ended up. P15. We'll see if he gets any gains off this pit stop. I doubt he takes tyres. I think it'll just be a fuel stop. I think the Rinkers may take tyres on this stop because of how old their tyres are compared to the rest of the field. We'll see how well this strategy is going to work out for Bailey Brannan. I think he's going to probably be able to take maybe 3 seconds less on the fuel stop. Could be good enough to get him into the top 10.
let's see. As the drivers now around 3 and 4, they're going to be able to come into the pit lane and take what they need to. Who is going to do that as well? There's the entrance line. Oh, there's the exit down at the other end. And no, they're not pitting just yet. Must be closed.
No, I think
closed.
they have to wait for the pit entry to open, which I think will be the end of this lap. So they'll come round, and we should see them. Actually, no, some drivers are in. So Ross is in, James is in,
yeah.
Graber's in. So everyone else has opted to stay out. Very interesting. Well, the beauty is for Brannon, he's now going to be P12. So if there are some deciders to come into pit lane, well, they actually might lose position here to James, Ross and Graber because they're going to be able to traverse around at full speed to the back of the train whilst they're stuck in pit road. So if you haven't come in now, there's no point coming in, Ewan. You might as well stay out and keep your track position.
No. I think the key is that if you pit this time round, you'd have to make 2 more stops to make it to the end because there's over 60 laps to go. Whereas if you wait just a little bit longer, say you wait for 54 to go or less, or somewhere around there anyway, then you can make it on 1 more stop after the next one here tonight. So that's probably the reasoning. Although caution makes sense to come into pit lane, only really if you're not too worried about losing very much track position. But none of the playoff drivers come in. Bailey Brannon, I think, is the only driver there to gain places because of those stops that were going on a little bit further behind. So that's a quieter run down pit lane that time round from everybody. But what a great first stage that was in terms of the green flag racing that we got. About 30 laps green to start this race. That was a brilliant start. But the second stage was always, or sometimes anyway, take on a different look to the first stage.
So Caleb Ross, who came in under the caution, has taken all 4 tyres, 24-second stop for him. Trey Graber has only taken fuel. Jesse James took right sides in that stop. Freshest tyres at the moment for the playoff position drivers is Brannon, who pitted on 29 and took the rubber. So we'll see how this plays out though on the restart, and if we can get a nice long green period again. We did well in that first race, the first portion of the race. You went to go green for the majority of that stint. We'll see now how the next 60 laps go.
Yeah, we didn't restart side by side actually on that first restart, but second restart we are going to have a double foul. So on the lead lap, everybody apart from Taylor Strong and Shane Johnson. Taylor Strong just 1 lap down, and Johnson is 2. But nobody sort of in pit lane with long damage repairs or anything from that first stage. So fantastic start to this race from all of the guys here at Las Vegas. The final 1.5 miles that is, well, I guess Homestead is kind of similar to this, isn't it, really? But it's a proper intermediate circuit, this one. And it's the first of our playoff rounds this season as the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship draws to a close. Bit of consternation in the background as they come into the Hawks Automotive restart zone. And again, it's going to be Trey Jones to bring them to the green. As he has done on so many occasions, Trey Jones gets stage 2 underway from Vegas. So it's on the wall out of 4. Oh, and trouble off of the tri-oval, and we are under caution after a lap under stage 2. Unsure as to who has actually caused the eventual one. Be Strong is off circuit. There's others who are dropping as well. Jamie Violet might have been involved again. So yeah, there's a couple of incidents here. There's a couple of incidents to have a look at. Caleb Ross was the one, though, that made contact with Be Strong.
So Be Strong has just dropped his 2006 Kids' Choice Award on the tri-oval. He went to go pick it up and the caution is thrown. And unfortunately, he got slimed when he went to do that, unfortunately, for Be Strong. Give the update on Bailey Brannon, P10 now. So he's already gained 2 spots off that run. He's now tucked in behind his good friend, Paul Harris. And he's back within the hunt now, Ewan. So luckily for Bailey, That incident. Oh, that is a wild one. Jeez.
So who's in the wall down there? It's another question. Jamie
that-
Violet is one of them.
Is that one of the rinkers? No.
No, it's
No,
too
it's
far
not.
back, I don't think, to be
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
them. And it's actually coming to a stop there. Sean shuts this. Comes to a stop actually on the trial. So he clearly felt that he actually couldn't even drive it back under caution. That's how damaged he feels the car is after heading into the outside wall off of turn 4 there and through the travel. There was 2 separate incidents there happening at the end of the first lap of that restart.
Yeah, unfortunately for Sean, he cannot match the level of Shane Van Gisbergen, even though he's running his livery. Trey Jones, though, doing well. The Rinkers are into pit lane. Free pit stop for them.
Yeah, they making sure they can do it with one more stop. There it
Oh,
is.
that's why. So violent
it's a
into
big
the
hit.
wall and big hit and contact into him. And I think, is this Violet's first race this season? I think it is. So I don't recall
race.
seeing him in the field. Second race? Okay. Second race for Violet. Okay.
Maybe even more than that, actually. Let's just check. Third race, sorry. Third race.
Oh.
So,
Must have been a bit of a stint between drinks for him then. Because I don't recall him over the
2nd
last
of
few
August
weeks.
was the last time he raced.
Well then, that's a real long stint between drinks. So that's a good dry spell for Jamie. But he's back out there with us once again. So good to see him back on track.
Yeah,
Goes to show that my memory is starting to fade.
I mean, it was nearly 2 months ago. We had a long break between those two.
Yeah, true.
Those 2 races there, the Red Bull Ring and Atlanta, where we had a 2 weeks off, 3 weeks between races. So instead of the normal 1 week, so yeah, that's contributed very much to the rounds that he's been away, if you like. As
Yeah.
the pace car comes over the line, it will take its lights off in a moment, I'd imagine, and we will be lined up behind the pace car again. So Violet has actually gone a lap down now. Shane Johnson is as well. Taylor Strong now 5 laps down. Seems to have disconnected, actually, just Taylor Strong, who is continuing to drop down the field.
Yeah. Just so we just saw then as well, B Strong's actually stopped on the tri-oval, so this caution's probably going to get extended now by a lap or 2. I think he actually had an incident under the caution. He actually went into the wall, and I think he broke the car again, quite possibly, unless he found his 2003 Kids' Choice Award in that wall, and he decided he had to pick it up on the way back to the train.
Almost looks like a car out of field to me. But why would that be
No,
the case?
surely he did not forget to put fuel in the car. Surely not.
And if that was the case, he'd come down pit lane there. So
Yeah,
you're right, it's probably
He just rolled back down pit lane.
Well, he's back underway again now in live pictures. So he
Yeah.
just had something to figure out, I guess, before getting back going. And there, well, you can't see him there, but yeah. He's back in the fray anyway.
Yeah. I heard he has a booster seat for it just because it has the words kids in it. He has to try and strap it in the booster seat, make sure it doesn't fall out.
I didn't know these cars had those. Anyway, end of the caution, 56 laps completed. Mike Rinker, Charles Rinker going into the pit lane, maybe a touch early, but let's wait and see whether that is the case or not, and see how many cautions there will be in this run, because if there are lots, then they will benefit. Into the Hookers Automotive restart zone, we're back underway at Vegas. Off of 4. Oh, in trouble off of 4 again. The end of the first lap under green. And it's Tyler Murgy who finds the wall.
Watch for everyone to come into pit lane now, Ewan. This is critical lap 46. Everyone will come in. What the point I was actually about to make before that caution actually happened was Because of the caution, the Rinker brothers very likely actually were going to be able to save enough fuel to get home to the end. At least would have been a long enough period for them to get to the end with the possibility of another caution. That's now put that strategy dead in the water because everyone else is going to be able to come in. Look at how close Bailey Brannan's race was to being completely destroyed. That was a moment in time that those drivers will never forget. And for Tyler Murgy, well, he has been hard into the wall. So he had the 8 car on his outside. He's tried to run up the high line. Probably hasn't realised he's there. And straight into the barrier. I don't think there's been any malice in that one, Ewan. I think that there's just cars getting overlocked and it's one of them racing incidents.
Yeah, I think so. Brannan will have
he was right in front of it.
Yeah.
He was right in front of it. Yep. He was the car directly in front. He was probably a good, 3 or 4 feet away from being caught out in that one.
Yeah, well, as you say, very, very lucky in a sense that Brannan got away with that. But he's just ghosting his way through the field, isn't he? 8th place now. After not really making very many overtakes, just staying out of trouble, making up a place or two. He's gaining a lot out of this. Well, as we're under this caution, we'll just take a quick break, and after this, we'll be back again with the restart. With just about half of the race done here at Las Vegas.
I think that there is an interesting mistake for the drivers not to come into pit lane. That's probably saved Mike and Charles Rinker's strategy because they can make it home on fuel now.
Only getting started when it's midnight, keeping it tight. If people wanna go for war, it can get dark, but we stay bright. Coming like a night, it's on sight. Ever touch my sleeve? They wanna disagree when it's clear that I'm speaking facts. Man like me, I'm proactive. Never gonna stop till I see the big man's on flats.
Hop on the front door, it's like midnight. Don't lose your grip, cause you might fall out again. Off-white whip, need for speed. I'm not switching the lane. Pick up the pace, bro, like that.
That's fine.
Welcome back to Las Vegas, where we're under caution and about to get a restart in a lap's time. We'll have 52 to go when we get there. Myself, Ian O'Leary, Hamish Munro, Jim Cunningham with you tonight in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship playoff opener. It's been Trey Jones who's led most of the laps tonight, and he'll be very disappointed if he doesn't win tonight, I think, based on what we've seen so far. But we've still got, Hamish, over half of this race and a very, very, very long way to go.
Yeah, I mean, you can put it on paper how you think it's going to go, but oftentimes with not only I2I, but stock car racing in general, it likes to pick up that piece of paper, crumple it right in front of you and throw it into a bin. Right now, the strategy sits with the Rinker brothers. They put it on lap 42 with 2 cautions of fuel saving. They can make it home on their fuel now. No one else, relatively speaking, in the top pack has come in under this caution. I think it's a bit of a mistake. Again, you're not wanting to gamble too much. You're not wanting to roll the dice too much and really push the envelope, but if you can make it home on fuel from this point, it's a free stop, you might as well come in. But, time's passed and they haven't done so. Restart's about to happen. We'll see how the chips will fall throughout the rest of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. Up into the Hawks Automotive restart zone again, we will go. It's been a third in quick succession here for Trey Jones to get us back underway. Got to wait a little bit here at Vegas before you get there. But there we go. 52 to go. About to cross halfway here in this race. Let's see if we can get another green flag run together, because the longest in the last few runs has been 4 laps. So let's see how we go as the green flag race. Oh, we won't get one. 98. Cody Pruitt turned around by Daniel Wing. A non-playoff driver with a playoff driver. And Charles Rinker's been hit as well, the 7 car. 2 playoff drivers involved in this caution on lap 48.
Yep, that has hurt the Rinker brothers now, and that is the pressure and the statistical disadvantage you have of pitting early. Is you end up in the back of the pack, you end up in the midfield, where more than likely incidents are going to happen, and statistically speaking, you are putting yourself at a percentage disadvantage. Look at that. There goes Pruitt. Now, I just mentioned that obviously midfield incidents happen. They do happen at the front of the field as well, as we've just seen. But that there is a big one. It's big in terms of the championship as well, Ewan. 2 of the playoff drivers knocked into the wall, and possibly with only 50 laps to go, they could be knocked out of good points positions for this race now. It's going to take a lot of chaos and carnage for those guys to get back into this one.
Absolutely. This is the biggest of the race so far, certainly. You can absolutely understand the drivers who've just thrown it to the bottom of the racetrack there and said, well, don't want to be any part of this. And they've avoided it very nicely. Into the pit lane come the leaders. As we have a look at Charles Rinker. See Pruitt turned around up ahead of us here. He can't really even see. He's just been clipped. And he will get away with that. But that is definite contact, and he'll be into the pit lane, as is almost everybody. I'll tell you who hasn't come in, because that's quicker. Caleb Ross stays out. He last pitted under the caution. Mike Rinker stays out as well. Trey Grabber last pitted under the caution, under the stage caution as well. He stays out. So does B Strong and Devon Trusty. 5 drivers out of those on the lead lap. The 17 there are now on the lead lap, staying out of the pit lane. Who's going to be out there first, though, as they all take their second tyre change of the day? Unsurprisingly, it will be Trey Jones, who will restart 6th as he wins the race off pit lane ahead of Bailey Brannan.
Brannan has not taken tyres. He has just put fuel in that car, so he is saving tyres for the end of this race. Tyler Murgy, by the way, has had to come back into pit lane for a stop hold penalty. I assume for speeding in pit lane previously, so that's really put his race dead in the water. The good thing for Pruitt is he's still on the lead lap, and we've seen Brannan come back from being put to the back of the field through a penalty, more so than an incident. But Pruitt's not necessarily dead in the water just yet. He is a lap down on the race leader, but he will get a lucky dog wave around as long as he doesn't get an off track or an X under this caution. So it's going to be an interesting scenario for these drivers further up the field, but also for Pruitt further back.
So at the moment, Tyler Murgy, the last driver on the lead lap. Cody Pruitt 1 lap down, along with Shane Johnson. Cody Pruitt's going to have to stay in the lucky dog position. He's going to have to stay ahead of Shane Johnson on the restart here. They're going to effectively restart side by side here. Sean Schultz is the only other driver 1 lap down. Taylor Strong was disconnected after just 36 laps tonight and seems to have not returned, at least not yet anyway. So under caution again. We'll be over in a moment, but those newer tyre runners surely will come through the field. It's going to be another very interesting restart, a very important restart as well for Trey Jones, if he wants to lead the field around, if you like, of those who are on the newer tyres.
So halfway through this race, we want to hear from the chat as well, but I think we need to give you our predictions too, and I think Jim can give us his. We'll relay it to the chat as well. If you are watching, get into the chat, answer the question for us. Who do you think's going to win this race, Ewan? Put you on the spot.
I'm still going to go with Trey Jones because, of the pace he's shown so far. But, it's it's so unpredictable, this race. You just do not know what is going to happen here at all. As the lights go off on the pace car, we'll be underway again. 48 to go now. Haven't had a restart longer than a lap now for the last 3 attempts. Let's try again as the green flag waves here at Las Vegas.
Yep. Well, I'm going to claim Bailey Brannan's going to win this race, and I want to hear from the chat. Let us know who you think's going to win as we run round turn 1, 2 once again under green flag conditions. Lap 53 of 100 here at Las Vegas. And we've got around about 58 or 48 laps to go in this race. Ross, Rinker, the top 2. Trusty, Graber, Brannan, the top 5. Jones, Stevens Jr., Meadows, Harrison, Hawker, the top 10. As round goes the 8 car with contact from Brannan.
Wow. Devon Trusty's been... he's been smashed. He's been absolutely smashed there by Jamie Violet again. Jamie Violet is having a pretty miserable evening. And that 8 car now, oh dear, that 8 car's very, very damaged indeed. My word. Let's have a look at it again for Devon Trusty. This is why people like to take tyres under caution. This is why we limit it, because it just creates these kind of situations. Brannan makes a bit of contact. I think Brannan will get away with that, and a great job for almost everybody else to avoid that.
Yeah, he had nowhere to go. Trusty got loose through 4, right into the pathway of Brannan. and Brannon just had no other option. He had to just drive straight through him. But look at the crabbing on that car. Mr. Drifter, the inertia drift is, you're meant to go the other way. Oh, look at that rear wheel. That rear right-hand side tire, it looks like a speedway car. It's got that much toe on it, or negative toe. But wow. So the question now is, Ewan, does Brannon have damage? Does Brannon have damage off that incident? I don't think he would have too much damage.
Well, apparently you're hearing that Tyler Murgy has another black flag.
How?
Don't know.
Like, I'm sorry, Tyler, how have you gotten another one? I mean that from sheer disbelief as Pruitt gets his lap back.
Well, yeah, the relentless amount of cautions has gotten Cody Pruitt back onto the lead lap again, but he's not got the track position at the moment. It feels like it's starting to become one of those races, isn't it, where track position is very, very, very important, and staying out under these cautions makes more and more sense every time because of the amount of cautions that we've had in the last few moments.
No, not really. I don't really have an opinion on it. I'm in disbelief for this race at this point. Really long green period at the start. Now we've got back to caution as well. I think Jones and Brannon, they're in a hot position at the moment. Harris is up there too. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put a little asterisk on my prediction that Brannon's going to win this race. I think Brannon's going to win, and I think Harris is going to get his first podium. That's what I'm going to change my prediction there.
Okay.
I hope that's fair.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there's long enough to go for you to be able to change your opinion without too much.
Yeah. I'll to reference wrestling once again. I'll just pull a Jim Ross and I'll change my prediction as someone better enters the ring for the Rumble as my pick. No, it was Graber that had something apparently. I looked at it though. It has Goofy on the back of it, which I think is his representation of Paul Harris. So, I think it's Goofy on the back of it. Yeah. It's on the actual rear of his car. So if you go on board with Brannon, you'll see it. There it is. Actually, it's not Goofy. It's something else. I can't remember now.
I don't know what that is. I'm just uncultured though, so I'm never going to.
It's still an animated dog.
Yes. Well, yes.
What animated dog it is, I don't know.
No, I don't know either, to be honest with you. But
no, it's not. No, it's not Jesse James the road dog, that's for sure. Pace car comes in. Let's get restarted.
Walker's Automotive restart zone again. Still 16 on the lead lap, by the way, and Cody Pruitt is one of them again. 44 laps to go. Another restart again as Trey Jones is on the outside line. He's on those newer tyres compared to the three in front. Brannon goes to the inside after languishing so far down throughout so much of tonight. He is now battling for the net race lead with Trey Jones.
Yep. How quickly the tables can turn for Bailey Brannon, or if you want to reference The Office, how quickly the turntables. Maybe you're a DJ of some kind, I don't know. But side-by-side action as they paddle away at the front of the field with Mike Rinker. Caleb Ross in the pole position to try and take this race win as well. Brannon has got massive speed on board that car. Didn't take tyres on the last stop, just took fuel. And he has got some wicked pace on board the bucket machine right now with Jim's favourite livery on it.
Side by side, and Brannon is having a fantastic restart. He's clearly got some good speed. Just been buried in the pack tonight compared to Trey Jones, who took the pole and has been running out front. Still side by side. Good to get some green flag laps under our belt because we haven't had one in the recent past. So this is the longest for a while. Brannon to the low side on Caleb Ross. And Bailey Brannon is going to lead here from Las Vegas, although Trey Jones is coming as well.
We just had confirmation from Hannah Rinker, thank you, Hannah, saying it's Max, Goofy's son. So that's now been confirmed. It's Max on the back of Trey Graber's car. Brannon, though, into the race lead. Jones has gone right with him, and what an enticing and tasty battle this is going to be for the possible race win. 40 laps to go, side by side through turn 1 and 2 they go, onto the back straight. It's going to be a drag race in towards turn 3. Which one of them's going to get the benefits and which one of them's going to be left out to dry as Jones takes back the lead from Brannon.
What a great battle between these two. If this is going to remain for the remaining 40 laps, then it's going to be a barnstorming finish as Trey Jones leads another lap. I'm pretty sure he'll have guaranteed himself the most laps led tonight very, very shortly because of the race that he's been having. But Trey Jones ahead of Bailey Brannon. Mike Rinker trying to follow through as well as he battles side by side with Caleb Ross, but he can't quite get past. He's looking for third. He's still looking inside at turn 3 again, but he's not managing it. These old tyres on Caleb Ross's car, by the way, holding up really quite well.
Yeah, they're doing quite well. Of course, they're 13 laps older than the 2 cars ahead of him. 5 laps older than the car directly behind in Mike Rinker. As Pruitt has already found his way back up to P10 now as well, so he's into the top 10. Brannon may have pushed a bit hard there off the restart. You would maybe just put a bit too much heat in the tyres.
Absolutely. Oh dear, side by side again. And yeah, maybe Brannon has just got this a little bit wrong here. We're not even 2/3 of the way through this race at the moment as Brannon is passed by Caleb Ross. Is this going to start to knock over some dominoes now as Mike Rinker comes through on the inside line? He's still stuck on the outside, Brannon. Here comes Robert Stevens Jr. Is it going to be 3 wide with Trey Graber as well? Not quite. They're not quite alongside Brannon. Graber looks down the inside and, well, this is interesting. This is not the restart now that Brannon wanted, or at least in a longer run. This is not what Brannon needed at all. He's still going backwards.
I don't know if he needs to save fuel here, Ewan. I personally don't think he would think he has to, but if he does, it's an interesting strategy. We'll see if it pays off for him. But now tucked up right behind Trey Graber as they run around. He's still in the top 5. Paul Harris is now back up right behind him as well into P6. So the momentum is ebbing and flowing between the whole field. Drivers drop position and they make some positions back up again. It's not going to be all over just yet for Bailey Brannon. It's going to be, it's only going to be over when that checkered flag flies. We'll see where he ends up.
Through these laps and ticking them off quite nicely now. Is maybe going to be one of those circuits where the restart itself is the difficult one, and then for the rest of the run it's better. But we'll see. There's certainly a bit of a break in the group down to those back in the pack. We've got probably the top 10 all in one long line at the moment. Side by side for Nicholas Meadows here towards the back end of the field. This is Brannon still going backwards. Jesse James through now. Robert Stevens Jr. looking up the inside. That's a bit high there from Graber just up in front. But what has happened to Bailey Brannon? This is very puzzling, I've got to say. After taking off really quickly, it's all of a sudden he's going backwards very quickly.
Pruitt is starting to make one hell of a comeback here. He's now tucked up right behind Bailey Brannon. So battling for this top 10, it's becoming a crucial scenario for them. For my money here, Ewan, I think the longer that we go green, the more likely, if there's a caution at the end, that we see drivers coming in and taking tyres quite possibly, just to have a strategic edge towards the end of this race. I think if it's probably within the last 10 laps, you wouldn't risk it because the 10 laps will go by so quickly. But I think if we get a caution with 20 laps to go, we're going to see drivers coming in to take tyres to have some grip advantage to the end of this race.
Yeah, maybe. Absolutely. Well, we'll see whether we get one of those at the moment. Brannon's still going backwards, and look at this. He's down to 10th now. He's got the fastest lap of the race so far, but that's paling into insignificance at the moment. As Charles Rinker comes past, clearly the damage that he picked up earlier is not affecting him too badly. This is very, very puzzling at the moment. We've only seen Brannon in slight contact earlier, and if there is damage there, it wouldn't explain why he took off so quickly. So this is a puzzling one, and hopefully we'll get to chat to it at the very end of the race. As Caleb Ross continues to fight on here. He's got the older tyres on, of course, and that's why he's finding this difficult. He's pulled to the inside with Mike Rinker pulling on alongside now. He's done it well over 30 laps, by the way. Not sure why he hasn't come in before this point, because he's having to now do it under caution.
Yep. As he comes into pit road under green flag running, could have done it under caution. Oh, now the caution's thrown. That's come out and it's saved him, and it's Nick Meadows, who's had an incident further back in the field. He's stuck off the racing line and on the apron, but caution is thrown. As it was thrown as Ross came into pit lane. Well, he got absolutely served. Absolutely served and dumped by William Hawker, who just drove straight through him. So I wonder now, Ewan, with 29 laps to go, do we see anyone come in under this caution just for a set of tyres?
Yeah, I wonder. Wow, I wonder whether they will do the tyres now, because for some of them that will be their last set. Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting indeed to see what they decide to do. But they can probably make it to the end if they decide to make the pit stop now. 27 laps the anticipated fuel window, so it should be okay. But
Brannon has an extra set still. So he still has tyres in his back pocket to come in and take. So he could pit under this caution, take the tyres. He'll give up a little bit of track position, but that's fine. He'll then have the grip advantage for the next stint of this race.
I think Brannon will find it difficult not to come in, to be honest.
Paul Harris is coming in
backwards so quickly. Yeah, they're all having a look, aren't they? Are they actually going to go down
Brannon's
the pit lane,
in.
though? Because they're just
in.
faking it. Brannon's
Trey
Jones seems to be in.
Trey Jones, you know what? Massive misplay. Jones has been hung out to dry here, Ewan. This, for my money, this might actually cost Trey Jones the win, because everyone else is into pit road now.
Well, that is very, very interesting for Trey Jones especially, but I don't blame him, to be honest. Admittedly, we have already been going over 20 laps, so he's running a little bit of risk now of running out of fuel or needing to pit under green, and you can see the downsides of that. Caleb Ross is right behind him there. He's not going to get the wave around Caleb Ross. He's going to remain a lap down at the moment, so that's not great news at all for him. But yeah, this is Trey Jones, who's going to be in big trouble, I would expect. Paul Harris is going to be right behind him. He will be next in line. Either he took 2 tyres or no tyres at all. Cody Pruitt and Robert Stevens Jr. the same.
Well, I've just remembered as well, Ewan, because we got so caught up in the moment earlier saying 54 to go, they can do it with 1 stop. They can only do it with 1 stop with 54 to go because they only last 27 laps on a tank of fuel. So we're at lap 72 with 28 laps to go, and they can go 27 laps on fuel. Everyone's come in and fueled up. Everyone's taken tyres. Trey Jones has stayed out. They're going to be able to save enough now. They can get home with this caution. They can get home with their fuel. Trey Jones has just killed his race. I guarantee you Trey Jones has just killed his race. Because everybody else does not need to come in now to the end of this race. If we get another caution, even if we get another caution, he gets a caution stop. He's done. He will drop so far back because everyone else will be able to stay out and make it home on their stop. Yes, he'll have fresh tyres. That's fine. But he's going to be buried in the field. He's going to be so far buried. If there is a caution in the next 2 or 3 laps, that's the only thing that can save him. If it goes green for the next 10 to 15 laps and then we get a caution, he's going to have to pit. And more than likely, to save his race and save his bacon, he's going to have to pit and not take tyres. Otherwise, he's going to give up too much time in the stop.
Yeah, I understand that sort of point of thinking in a way. The only other side of the coin there, I think, is if this is a decent green flag run, the others just take the edge off their tyres maybe, and he can have slightly fresher tyres. I think he'll have speed still. I think he still does have the speed to come back through the field. The pace car has to come back on again. I think
if it goes green to the end, his race is over because he has to pit under green. So if it goes green to the end and all their tyres scrub up, he's going to have to pit under green anyway. He's going to go a lap down. That's going to be it. He's done for. If we go 20 laps and we get caution, reasonably speaking, it's too long. It's too long for him to get to that point because he pitted on lap 50. So with the couple of cautions we've had since his last pit stop, let's make a reasonable estimate, Ewan, that he could go 33 laps. So maybe he could go to lap 83. If we don't get a caution in the next 10 laps and he has to pit under green, that's his race over. There is no way with less than 20 laps to go, even with one caution, that I think he could get back into a race-winning position. He might be able to get back to a top 10 position if he gets a lucky dog. But this here has more than likely thrown it away for him. More than likely.
Yeah. No, I can understand that point of view, certainly. With 26 laps to go only now. I think the others, to be absolutely sure, need another caution, but I think they're probably going to get it as well. We will wait and see, though, what he decides to do here. I'll remind you, he last pitted on lap 50, which is 24 laps ago. Although I think there's been 4 cautions since then. So he can probably do the mid-80s, I would say, in terms of getting to that lap. But let's wait and see as he comes up towards the Hawkers Automotive restart zone again. Trey Jones restarts from the lead once again, and he'll lead some more laps. But how long is he going to keep this lead with these new tyres all around him?
Oh, Pruitt, Harris, and Jones and Stevens Jr. not taking tyres. Rinkers took tyres, both of them. James took tyres. Wing took tyres as well. Brannon had a stop hole penalty in the pit lane. He's back in P13. So he's going to have a perfect 26 laps to get back into a positive position in this race. So he's been pushed back in the realm. Still on the lead lap, though, so that's worked out for him. But everyone else is going to start to put pressure now on that number 1 car as Pruitt is being pressured here by Rinker, who's on those fresher tyres. And here comes Rinker. Inside line. Might only be a few laps until he's back in the race lead.
Well, this is Trey Jones running away from Mike Rinker at the moment. As Rinker looks to the inside of Cody Pruitt. These top 3 are in the positions where they started this race, by the way. Pruitt to the outside line as they come over the start-finish line. Less than a quarter of this race remains now. It's a good restart, especially compared to some of the others that we've seen. But Rinker moves through. He's into second place ahead of Cody Pruitt. And now he's tracing down the race leader, Trey Jones.
So Brannon, who I mentioned, was back in P13, now back up to P8. So he is on the move and he's on the charge up the field once again. Rinker's starting to chase down Trey Jones. Pruitt is hot on his heels as well. Paul Harris is right there to try and clinch his first podium of the season. He did not take tyres on that last stop. Mike Rinker did, and he's about to take advantage to try and fight his way. Charles Rinker did. Oh, that's contact, though. Mike Rinker into the back of Trey Jones. Scraped the wall as well. That's really dropped the momentum for him. As here comes Harris on the inside line. Can he sneak up there onto the podium? Pruitt on the outside line as well. Mike Rinker in behind them. Oh, I keep on getting confused. Charles Rinker behind them. Mike Rinker ahead of them.
he's
There's a Rinker in there somewhere, I promise you.
Yeah, there definitely is. There is Charles Rinker on the outside of Paul Harris going over the start-finish line here. Rinker will keep high, but look at Mike Rinker there chasing down Trey Jones for the lead of this race, and he's surely going to be able to make a pass soon. In fact, he probably needs to with the Chargers in behind them. Here they come into 3 and 4 again. Rinker took 4 tyres, by the way, last time round. Others 2. That's why he's got such an advantage. Inside he goes through 3 and 4. And Mike Rinker leads with 21 to go.
He made that look easy. As Stevens Jr. just had an off-track further back. There's the caution. Jones has to come in. He has to come in now. If he stays out, if he stays out at this point, Ewan, you'd have to have an IQ test for him, because how could you possibly stay out now when you've got a free pit stop and you can make it to the end on fuel?
Well, That does seem a bit soft for a caution, doesn't it? But there you go.
I think
it might have been off of four,
the
actually.
tri-oval has got a vendetta against the whole field. It wants Trey Jones to win. There's your Jesse Ventura. That's fine. If they can't hear you, Jim, we can hear you, and I'll give it to you. It's fine. We have secret conversations with Jim.
That's the
There's absolutely
oh, sorry, go on.
there's no proof whatsoever that I'm here at all. No one knows that. Well, you do now, but you didn't before.
We could have just claimed that Jim was here and I could have been doing the production work the whole time.
Well, yeah.
So, Ewan, we're going to have to watch this run now towards the back straight because or even up towards the start-finish line, if Jones does not come in, he's in. Okay, that's good. Good boy. Yeah, Pruitt's in. A lot of them are in. They're going to take tyres. Yeah, Brannon's in. Harris is in. Stevens Jr.'s in. So it's now flipped this race on its head.
Yeah. If you've got them, then you might as well. Mike and Charles Rinker, though, haven't got any more tyres, and so they might be in a bit of trouble here when they restart. Let's see how many people are taking. Well, we know Trey Jones is going to take 4, but how far is he going to drop compared to those who are going to have to take 2? Bit of a slide on the brakes, but they'll all stop in time. The 2 Rinkers.
Brannon can take 4 as well. So Brannon can also take 4 tyres. He has a full set available to him already. So watch for this long pit stop. They're all taking tyre stops. Jones took 2. Pruitt took 2. Harris took 2. Brannon and Stevens Jr. took 2 as well. So only right sides on board those cars. Brannon probably saving 2, maybe for a late break caution if he thinks that he's got enough time as they exit pit lane. So they've all come out together, and for my money, they're probably the 5 drivers now who will challenge for this race win.
Yeah, I reckon so. 56. Oh, sorry, I'm looking at William Hawker, who pitted last caution, 50 nearly for a minute. But anyway, I'll just run through the order then, and when they last pitted, just to try and sort of clean this up a little bit and try and get an idea of where everybody is. Mike Rinker is leading this race ahead of Charles Rinker. These are all guys who just stayed out, by the way. Daniel Wing, Nicholas Meadows, Jesse James, William Hawker, B. Strong, Chris Hone, all in the top 8. They all stayed out under that previous caution. 2 tyres. No, I was right first time. 4 tyres taken by Trey Jones, Cody Pruitt, Paul Harris, Bailey Brannon, Robert Stevens Jr. and Shane Johnston, although not under the last caution for Johnston. Actually, he's just recently back onto the lead lap. So 14 on the lead lap. The first 8 of them did not pit under the last caution. They pitted under the one before. 17 to go when we go back green, and it's going to be a big, big restart.
Going to be a massive restart for these cars now. Top 8 cars pitted 10 laps prior to Jones, Pruitt, Harris, Brannon and Stevens Jr. That's the 2 strategies that are currently being ran by the cars left on the lead lap. The Rinker brothers, they're back at the front of the field, but how long will they remain there as there's cars behind them with fresh rubber on board those cars? Ironically, Jones has come through pit lane 3 times, Pruitt 4, Harris 4, Stevens Jr. 4, Brannon 5. So those 5 drivers are prepped and ready to challenge for this race win. They're prepped and ready to challenge for this race lead. They might be back in the field, but they've got pace and they've got fresh tyres on board those cars. Let's watch the run to the end and see if we can go green the whole way.
But it would be nice to see a nice green flag run towards the finish, but you just do not know what you're going to see here as we get ourselves towards the restart zone again. Back underway in this race. 17 to go from Las Vegas in the first round of the playoffs in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship. Mike Rinker flies away at the front of the field. He's been good on these restarts, and in fact he's had good speed tonight, but can he hold back those on newer tyres who are surely going to start to be coming through?
They're already starting to make moves further back. Jones is trying to make his way through, so is Harris, so is Brannon. All those guys starting just to fight their way back up in towards the top 10. It's only going to be a matter of time before they're onto the back of the front runners at this point of the race. 17 laps to go, plenty of time for them to get up there. And as the battle at the front of the field intensifies, there you see them, the little 5-packer drivers fighting their way in towards the top 10 as they cross the line. So watch for them to chase them down like a hungry hyena chases down a wounded gazelle, because the top 3, they might be feeling a bit wounded come the end of this race when those tyres are broken away and they've run out of grip.
Look at Daniel Wing, by the way, coming through on Charles Rinker. This is a surprise. Inside line he goes, and he's going to get the lead here, is he? Oh, he's very loose on the low side. And Mike Rinker's going to keep the lead as a result. But where has Daniel Wing found all this pace from? I'm not entirely sure. Caution flies. It's Bailey Brannan who's dropping down the field.
Bailey Brannan has ended up in the wall on the tri-oval. So inside of B Strong, he got bit loose, but Strong then came back down towards the apex of the corner and has just dumped him straight up into the barrier. So it's another case of a non-playoff driver making contact with a playoff competitor.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, Brannan's championship is on the back foot here, Ewan, and he's going to have to start swinging for the field. He's going to have to start swinging for the beaches. There you see the moment, and and honestly, I mean, for B Strong, that is a really poor mistake because he's just aimed at the corner like Brannan's not there.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing with playoffs, isn't it? It's the thing with the playoffs that there's a lot of drivers out there with nothing to lose and just trying to make moves, and you've got playoff drivers thinking about this series long term, but Brannan has not had a good start to this playoff season. He's won the most races of anybody this season. He's got the most points of anybody going into this round, but he's had a pretty miserable evening indeed, and he just gets turned into there. Unfortunately, that there's nothing you can do about that.
There's not. He's still in a good spot. He's got a meatball. He'll come in. He'll take his fast repair. Will he take tyres? Possibly. No, he hasn't used it. He hasn't had a crash yet. Brannan has not had an incident just yet in this race. He's about to come into pit road. So Brannan will use the fast repair, get that car fixed up. Needs to make sure he doesn't speed into the lane because he cannot afford to get a black flag. So he's lucky, Ewan. I would say he's lucky that he was able to drive back to pit lane. If he had to tow, I'd say it would have been race over.
Yes, I would say so, yeah. He's going to... There you go. You just saw the damage repair itself there, and he's back underway again.
Yeah.
So he will be down to 14th. As you say, that would have put him too far back and
not out of
time
it.
left in the race to recover.
Yeah, not out of it just yet. He's a few positions behind those cars who pitted with him earlier. The big one is Trey Jones, who's up in P5, but Jones is amongst a battle pack. He can get caught out in this moment as well. Anything can happen across the next, 10 or so laps. There's plenty of time for it to happen. Brannan's going to have to focus up now and try and make his way through the field as fast as possible.
Yeah, definitely, and quickly, because there is not much time left in this race at all. At the front of the field, Mike Rinker still leading the way. And that last restart, just been reminded, Trey Jones is the only one who'd really made progress there. So there'll be 11 to go when we go back green again. And he'll be the only one really on newer tyres compared to the rest of the field.
Well, Brannan made inroads, but unfortunately he then also made inroads into the wall when someone made inroads into his rear quarter panel. So,
true.
That realistically Brannan had gone with him, but now he's got work to do. P14, it's not out of the realm for Brannan to be able to get into the top 10. We've seen him go from P13 to P8 in a matter of moments. There's still plenty of time in this race, still plenty of moments still to happen. Probably if we go green flag running, a good 5 minutes of racing left in this one. If we go caution, well, time will tell. And we'll see when the clock will strike midnight on this race, and we'll see who comes out the benefactor and who comes out licking their wounds at the end of the night. But you can't say that Brannan hasn't had a difficult night on the road. He's had a very difficult night, and if he can pull something out of this race, it's going to be nothing short than spectacular.
Absolutely. He's just got to continue on going, though, and just get what he can from this one. He can't think about winning this, because if he does, then he'll end up making a mistake and making it worse for himself. So he's got to just pick up what he can. He's on the outside on this restart. Trey Jones on the inside. You can see him in number one. He's had the best pace tonight, but has he got the tyres at the right time here, I wonder. Yes, the pace car has its lights off and pulls into pit lane again. 11 laps to go from Las Vegas. Another restart, and this time Mike Rinker leads them away. Daniel Wing was very strong on the last one. Let's see how he goes as we get back underway.
So 11 laps of running here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Anything can happen across the next 5 minutes of this race. We could get caution after caution. We could go green, white, checkered and get into the overtime position. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be a hot battle for the race leaders. Jones up the inside in towards turn 4 as he runs it round, trying to chase down Mike Rinker. And the battle for the win is going to continue on. 10 to go now. Not long left in this race. It's going to strike midnight very shortly, Ewan, and, well, pressure's on. Brannon up to P9, by the way, to give you the update. So there he is in the background. You can see him lurking.
Yeah, he's made good progress here, but nobody's making better progress than Trey Jones at the moment. On that previous restart, he took about half the places he needed, and in about 2 laps here, he's taken the other half. Here is Mike Rinker just a bit in front of us. He might actually be allowing him to go to the inside, is he? Or is he defending? Here comes Jones on the inside line. He's not going to manage it there at turn 1 and 2. Mike Rinker is going to fight this one. I thought initially he was actually letting go, but that's not going to happen. And he's going to fight this one right to the very end. He's going to squeeze him down to the low side. Oh, was there contact there? I'm not sure. Jones is looking, but he's being blocked at the moment by Mike Rinker.
Yeah, Jones cannot find a pathway round. He wants inside line. He's not willing to risk going on the outside, knowing the sorts of percentages that go. Gets the run on the inside of the tri-oval. Gets pushed right onto the apron. Side by side towards turn 1. Trey Jones inside and into the P1 position. Goes the number 1 car, the Twisted T entry. Takes the race lead from Mike Rinker, but Daniel Wing's on his heels. Watch out for Paul Harris and Bailey Brannon. They're right at the opposite end of this top 5 battle. Brannon P6, Harris P5. They're on fresh tyres too. They're going to start pushing for these podium spots.
They absolutely are. Look at the run off of 4 there for Wing again. Daniel Wing is having a very good end to this race, and he's challenging Mike Rinker now for second position. Our best placed non-playoff driver, Daniel Wing, heads through on the inside and he's up into second place. Not even on newer tyres compared to Mike Rinker. No idea where he's found all this from as he gets up into second. Paul Harris and Bailey Brannon, the others in the top 5. Brannon is again rescuing a great position here.
Well, it seems like we're constantly restarting throughout this race. But as they fight their way through, Harris into P4, Brannon P5. Podium still on offer for them as they chase down Rinker and Wing. It's 6 laps to go. If a caution is thrown, it's anyone's game and it's hands up in the air. Who do you think can do it? If it goes green to the checkered flag, it looks to be Trey Jones to win. The one thing he does not want right now, Ewan, is a yellow flag. He wants that green flag to wave, and then a white flag to wave, and then a checkered flag as well. No yellows is the hope for Trey Jones right now. If there's a yellow, pressure's on.
Yeah, absolutely, and he has to go through another restart, but at the moment, this is exactly the ideal situation. Wing looks like he might have just reached the top of his curve at the moment, and Mike Rinker's just on the back of him and coming back through again. Paul Harris and Bailey Brannon are also coming up pretty quickly here in the background. You can see them. There goes Rinker looking to the inside of Wing at the moment. 4 to go when they get to the start-finish line, and Rinker's going to be alongside. Here comes Harris in the background. We've not seen very much of 91 Paul Harris actually tonight, but he starts the day 12 points behind Bailey Brannon. He's 1 position in front of him at the moment, and he's making a resurgence right when it matters. He's there at the end.
Yep, as they run through turn 1, 2, 4 laps to go. Harris is right on the heels of Rinker. Here comes Brannon. What's the outside line? Can he get there? As Harris gives him a little squeeze up towards the wall, lets him know, oi, you can't go there just yet. But Brannon is trying to find a way through. If we get a caution in the next 2 laps, it's going to be overtime running. And pressure's on. Here comes Brannon across the tri-oval. Looks to take P5 on the road from Nick Meadows. Actually,
contact!
Rinker, there's contact with Harris. Through goes Brannon. P3 on the road. Massive contact. Caution is thrown.
Wow.
It's
Trey
going to be a
Jones is not
green-white
Dear, oh dear.
checkered scenario, Ewan. What a scenario to be in.
You know, do these guys even have enough fuel, by the way, to do it? I guess with a couple of cautions, they might just about have enough. But
Brannon will definitely have enough. He would have taken a little bit when he took the fast repair, but man,
oh my word,
what a moment! One of the two playoff drivers involved in that, Rinker and Meadows.
And down the inside there, Caleb Ross was involved in something else down the bottom. But my word, that is a big moment. Mike Rinker have driven so well all day long, and well, he's surely going to have to come into pit lane now, but he doesn't have any other tyres. Paul Harris just hits him, and Mike Rinker couldn't do anything about that.
Yeah, that there has to be put on to Paul Harris as part of that. I mean, he was involved, but when I say playoff drivers involved, I mean involved in getting hit and getting damaged and getting taken out. Harris is still in the race, but there's a multitude of drivers who've been caught out in that moment there. It's going to take a lot to clean that up. What it does mean is, Ewan, it's going to be overtime. But what it does also mean is Trey Jones is going to restart this race, and right behind him is going to be Braley Brannon.
Well, this is going to be a big restart, that's for sure, for Trey Jones. It would just feel that it would be harsh if he doesn't win this race, but that's how racing works sometimes. The guys who pitted last on lap 71, by the way, who are going on a 29-lap run to the end, seemingly think they're going to be okay on fuel, and I will probably agree with them. They decide not to come in. You know, most of these guys don't have any tyre sets to pit in with anyway, so it's not really a difficult decision. You might as well stay out if you've got the fuel. No tyres on the pit wall. You've got to stay out, really.
Yeah, you've got to keep track position. If you're in this front pack, there's no point coming in. You are handing away a race win. Because how many times, in this season, have we seen green, white, checkered, and then there's been a caution thrown? 0. We have not had it where we've had 2 green, white, checkered scenarios in the race. It gets to green, white, checkered, and then we get to home. We get to checkered flag. So the percentages and the statistics say you just stay out. Now, the important part of this is, I mentioned Brannon's going to be starting right behind Trey Jones. Paul Harris is going to be starting right behind Daniel Wing. Both of those guys have got fresher tyres than Wing has. I don't know if Wing's going to be able to survive on the podium compared to those guys. Rinker's on older tyres. Hawker's on older tyres. Then we get to Stevens Jr., who's on the fresher tyres as well. But the pressure now on Trey Jones is that all-important factor of Bailey Brannon right behind him and in the slipstream. Harris needs to be ready to change lanes as soon as he crosses the start-finish line, because I think Daniel Wing is going to get left in the dust, and he does not want to get caught up behind him.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's hard to overstate, isn't it? Just what a big restart this is going to be. There'll be 2 laps to go when we get back going, by the way. And Trey Jones has, you feel, got to win this with the dominance he's had. Further down, by the way, Nicholas Meadows still in pit lane. He's going to lose big points, other than our 2 drivers who are not here, who lose the most points out of anybody in the playoffs here today.
Yeah, but his tyres are just as fresh as Trey Jones's.
Not true.
Yeah. Jim tried to claim it. To give the inside scoop, Jim tried to claim that Brannon had fresher tyres than Jones. He doesn't. He didn't take tyres, Jim. He only took the fast repair and fuel.
It's all getting very confusing. It's always hard to tell when they take tyres or not.
Jack claiming more cautions tonight when he's not here. Coincidence? I think not. Jack Anderson is the key to having a clean race.
No. 2 laps to go into overtime, sponsored by Blue Line Technologies. Here we go again. 2 laps to go. Trey Jones restarts from the front. Can he take this from the front?
Here comes Brannon. Look at that inside line through turn 2. Pressure's on. Paul Harris has been caught out by Rinker and Wing. He's going to have work to do if he wants his first podium. Brannon P2 now, right in behind Trey Jones. It's the battle for the race lead that we predicted, and it's the battle for the race win that we predicted as well. And we got 3 laps for you, 3 laps of overtime, and it's white flag, final lap of the race. Can Brannon find a way through on Jones? Will Jones make a mistake? As we run round turn 1, 2, I think it's Jones to lose at this point, Ewan. I don't think Brannon's close enough.
Yeah, it definitely is Jones to lose at the moment as Brannon pulls into the final 2 corners. Trey Jones has been untouchable tonight. He's led the most laps by a mile. He's had the most speed by a mile as well. It's pole to victory here at Las Vegas for Trey Jones. He wins the Black Jackson Burnouts 150 as there's spins and crashes in the background. It's Jones ahead of Brannon. Charles Rinker, the next of the playoff drivers in 4th, ahead of Robert Stevens Jr., the other of them, having a quiet day to finish in the top 5.
That was Cody Pruitt in a wild moment on the run to the line, merging into the wall just there. But Trey Jones takes home the race win, takes first blood in the playoffs. As everyone else pulls into pit road. What a race. What a race. And what a playoffs this is going to be, Ewan.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be a fantastic battle for the championship, that's for sure. And that's only been underscored tonight. Trey Jones taking the victory. Started the day 15 points behind Bailey Brannon, by the way, so I'm not even sure he'd be ahead of him by now, but he certainly have moved up the standings, that is for sure. And that's a fantastic victory. I mean, you know, I don't think there's anybody else who deserved it more than Hamish. So I know that the guy who drives the best and deserves it most doesn't often win, but that was definitely the case here tonight. Trey Jones was head and shoulders. Well, I don't know that head and shoulders, but he certainly was above the rest of the field.
I think we've got to give a big shout out, though, to Bailey Brannon. The amount of issues that he had in that race, through penalties that he got himself, through the meatball flag as well, to come back to P2 is nothing short of spectacular for him. That is a fantastic effort for him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right,
Yep.
because possibly the drive of the day from him. But in terms of the victory, it goes to Trey Jones ahead of Bailey Brannon, with Daniel Wing running at the top 3. Charles Rinker and Robert Stevens Jr., another couple of playoff drivers inside the top 5. Paul Harris, another playoff driver, finishes 6th. Ahead of William Hawker, Trey Grabber, Chris Hone, and then Cody Pruitt, the next to them, who rounds out the top 10. Mike Rinker ends up outside of the top 10. That will sting badly for him. B. Strong, Jesse James, and Shane Johnson will be on the lead lap. Tyler Murgy was 1 lap down. Sean Sutz is 2 down. Caleb Ross 3 down after the late crash. Nicholas Meadows 5 down with a late long repair. That's damaging for him. Jimmy Violet retired. So did Devon Trusty and Taylor Strong. Let's have a chat to Trey Jones then, shall we? The race winner from the first round of the playoffs here tonight. And Trey, congratulations on winning here tonight from Las Vegas. It was a late race restart. It was overtime once again. How are you feeling though when that that last caution came out and you realised you'd have to do another restart from the front?
Oh, I mean, I was stressed. I knew I had Bailey behind me and Daniel to the right of me. And I was nervous. I knew Bailey had some pace. So I knew as long as I could outrun him within the first, turn, I would probably have it. But very nice to finally get the win.
I can imagine so. I mean, what does this mean for the rest of the playoffs? You started today 15 points behind Brannon. You've certainly closed that gap, and you'll move up the playoff standings as well. Just what kind of a platform does this give you going forward in the remainder of the season?
I mean, I'm still gonna fight as hard, but it gives me a little bit of working room to not have to come out and win every race during the playoffs. So hopefully going forward, I'll be able to work off that and, hopefully we can take the championship at the end.
Yeah, well, good luck to you for the rest of the season. But for now, congratulations tonight on the victory from Las Vegas. And thanks for chatting to us at the end of the race as well.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
So much. Trey Jones, the winner tonight from Las Vegas in the first round of the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship playoffs, ahead of Bailey Brannan, who had probably the most eventful day of anybody out there tonight. Bailey, welcome in. Good to have you with us. Points leader coming into tonight. I think you'll just about keep that, but you had a very eventful evening indeed. Just tell us about the roller coaster of emotions you had.
Oh my gosh, how much are you guys charging for a therapy session? I had a roller coaster overnight. So stage one, I get black flagged because my internet starts going out. And then I went 2 laps down, and I was able to get it back under green because everyone had to pit. And then the caution came out right at the right time. I accidentally rear-ended Cody Pruitt before one of the restarts because it was a big checkup and I had no time to react. I got right hooked by somebody on the front straightaway, and I was able to. I think I restarted like 14th. I remember I told the guys that I was in the Discord with, I was like, I'm sorry in advance, but I'm driving through this field right now. And I did, and I finished second. And I tried to give Trey all I had, but he's had this one's a long time coming for him. He's deserved this win, but I can't complain about that finish.
No, absolutely. And, it will probably keep you the points leader at the end of today. What is the key, though, in these playoffs? Does it all come down to next week at Talladega in terms of staying out of trouble and having a good finish there? Or what else is important over these 3 races, do you think?
I think so. I think staying out of trouble and achieving the maximum amount of points is crucial. I think it was the same tonight. It's going to be the same at Homestead because it is a points-based playoff. I really hate that my internet decided to go out almost 7 laps before stage end because I was reeling Trey in and I would have had 10 points and it would have been a good day, and it still was a good day. I finished second, but yeah, scoring points and staying out of trouble, that's just the name of the game.
Well, absolutely. Good luck with that indeed for the rest of the season. But for now, congrats on finishing second tonight and recovering from so many troubles tonight. And thanks for chatting to us at the end of the race as well.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thanks very much,
Hey, Bailey. Before we let you go, I wanted him to pass a message on for me. That's fine.
Oh, sorry.
I'll pass it on myself. It's fine.
Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't know. Let's have a chat to Daniel Wing as well, shall we? You finished third tonight from Vegas. And Daniel, welcome in. Good to have you with us. I've got to say, we didn't see much of you in the first 2/3 of that race, but we certainly did in the final third. You seem to have very good speed, especially off of restarts. Just what was it that was giving you such good speed suddenly almost? Or were we not following you close enough? What were those final few laps like?
Oh, man, heart pounding. I took tires, I don't know, it was like within the 50s. And I was, the last 10 laps, my heart was pumping. I mean, it was pumping. I finally set myself up for a good race, and I did not want to see that caution at the end. I did not want to see it because I knew my tires were bad, and I knew I had aggressive guys behind me. And luckily, that outside lane worked for me. At the beginning of the race, man, I streamed, and one of my cameras wasn't working, so I ended up missing the pit and started off a pit road, and just kind of took it easy, man, to work my way back up. Because I want a W, man. That's what I want. That's what I'm trying for. But I decided to change my paint scheme, so I quit being a target, being so bright. If I blend in with the track, maybe I won't be caught up in these wrecks. And I caught a little bit of wheel damage, and to be honest, guys, I think it helped me in the turns running that outside lane. And I just I felt great, man. I felt great. Like I said, the last restart, it had me a little worried. I figured Paul and Bailey would have had a lot fresher tires, but I feel like I think Paul didn't get a good restart, so I end up sticking with it. And it took me a long time to get up here in the interview, but I'm glad I'm here though.
Well, absolutely. I mean, what is the target for the rest of the season now? Is it more podiums? Do you think you might be able to grab a win before the season's finished?
I'm hoping so, man, but I'm just I do this to get away from life, enjoy my time, race with a group of guys, have fun doing it. Yeah, I'm competitive. I want to win, but you can't always win. I don't want to down myself or nothing, but I want to give a good running just to, show Trey, the league owner, I try to play it cool to get into point systems, and it kind of backfired a little bit being at the back of the pack in some of these races and get caught up in some nonsense wrecks, and that kind of put me out of it. But I'm really looking forward to next year what Trey's got going. and making this league better and see what else we can do with it.
Well, yeah, yeah, sorry, I'll just repeat that so that people can hear, because I don't think Jim's on stream. But tell us a bit about the battle with Rinker towards the end and those final few laps as well.
It was a tough battle, man. I'm trying to give everybody room. I know when we done practice and stuff, coming out of 3 and 4, it's slippery. You can get slippery, and I had issues with it during practice and qualifying and stuff like that. But I felt like the track got maybe a little bit cooler, the grip got a little bit better, and I would just hammer it down, man. It was a good battle with them. You know what I'm saying? Try to give them room. But I just feel like my 1 and 2 was better than what his was, and I could make up the difference and stay ahead of him in 3 or 4. But I just felt like my car stuck. If I had some better tires, I think I would have gave Trey Jones a running for his money tonight.
Well, congratulations on getting the top 3 tonight, Daniel, and thanks for chatting to us at the end of the race as well.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good night.
Thanks very much, Daniel Wing. Third place tonight from Las Vegas as the playoffs get underway in the I2I Motorsports Xfinity Championship with the Blackjacks and Burnouts Fight 150. Great race, I've got to say, Hamish, with a long green flag run towards the beginning, more cautions in the middle, and a close finish as well with some more overtime. But I think the right man won in the end. Trey Jones certainly had the speed tonight to win. And when he does, he gets quite a lot closer to Bailey Brannan as well, which is a good job. But the way Brannan rescued himself as well was fantastic. There's a lot to admire in that race.
Yeah, he really probably saved his championship and the way that he raced to get back up to P2. Jones obviously put some pressure on him tonight, getting those 5 points over him, finishing in P1. But next 2 weeks are going to be intense for them. It's going to be tough. It's going to be a good opportunity for them to continue to roll with the momentum. I mentioned that Jones is running with the momentum at the moment. He's been having really, really good runs these last few weeks. Brannan's been doing very well as well. Next week is the X Factor week, though, Ewan. Talladega. Anyone can win at Dega. Anyone can get caught up in a wreck. A wreck can happen at any time. Dega next week is going to be an X Factor for that reason. The week after at Homestead, that's going to be a more skill-based round. Those drivers who are good at an oval circuit where you need to lift and brake and really strategize, Homestead's probably the perfect finale we can have for showing off who actually has the most skill in that playoff position. Where next week at Dega, it's going to be an X factor of any of them could drop points, any of them can get into a wreck, but there will also be on the other side of the coin opportunity to make up positions if they get caught up in incidents.
Yeah, well, absolutely. We will be here again, of course, next week, same time, same place, with that race from Talladega. Is going to be absolutely vital for these playoffs. So make sure you join us for those as well. And of course, Super Speedway racing is always a lot of fun, as we know. But once again, big thanks to everyone who's been tuned in tonight. This has been the Blackjacks and Burnouts 150 here live from Las Vegas. And next week is Talladega before our championship finale the week after. So I hope you'll join us then. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Hamish Monroe with Jim Cunningham behind the cameras. Until we see you again in 1 week's time at Talladega, it's goodbye for now.